Welcome to the Navigating Magic podcast, where we explore the interplay between intuition, ethereal consciousness, and everything in between. I teach beings how to generate change through their attention to energies, truths, and processes that are invisible to others. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next episode of the Navigating Magic podcast. I have been counting down for today because I have an amazing modern intuitive astrologer named Jasmina Brozovic with us today. Hi.
Hi. So glad to be here. I'm so happy. Thank you for having me.
Likewise.
Very appreciate it very much.
Of course. Thank you so much. Now, the reason that I got you on here is because there's something about your energy that I have been captivated by. We initially met on Instagram, and coincidentally, I had actually seen a YouTube interview on Steve Judd's YouTube channel. And I was just blown away by your energy and your ability to just, I guess there's something about the way that you forecast the astrology and your
Thank you so
message
much
out into the world. And then when I found out you're a double Gemini, is that right?
I have a Gemini, so my moon, Mercury, Sun, and midheaven, all in the ninth house.
Wow.
And I'm a Virgo rising, so a truly mercurial girl.
Okay. Sure. Well, I'm a Sun, Moon, Virgo in the 12th house. So I think it's the Mercury between us that we just understand each other.
Absolutely. There's the connection. Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, so for some of my listeners who maybe are not aware of what a stellium is, or even what it means to be a triple air, do you mind speaking a little bit about that and how that came about in your life?
Yes, exactly. So absolutely, great question. So for anybody who doesn't know, stellium is having 3 or more planets. This is from my astrological practice. You will see different opinions, 4 or 3 planets. I feel that 3 is enough if they're personal planets. So there are some traditional schools of astrology. They say that if it's not a personal planet, it doesn't considered to be in a stellium. So if you have like an outer planets. So personal planets are Moon and Sun are other planets, but they're personal celestial bodies. And then we have Mercury, Venus, and Mars. Then generational planets are Jupiter and Saturn, and outer planets also generational, but more a wider generational, like Saturn and Jupiter in a few years. Your generation, like your peers, and this is like a larger scale for Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto. So I would say that I have a stellium because I have Moon, Mercury, and Sun in the same sign, and midheaven, which is not a celestial body, is a point on the sky at the time when I was born. The highest point, like if you were looking from the Earth, if you look up, you would see Gemini constellation there. So that means my midheaven is also in Gemini. Having all this air means that your brain never stops working. That's number one.
I can see that.
So that's absolutely, I'm always trying to first having all these thoughts, I need to communicate them. With the moon in Gemini especially, it gives me emotional comfort and security to share and brainstorm my ideas with others. For example, in astrology, many astrologers talk and have forecasts by themselves. I need to have a guest. I just need to actually explore and ideas and to brainstorm them, because I always like to, like, as an high air, I interested in other points of view, in other perspective, finding the connections. It's like also pattern recognition. Okay, this person thinks this, and then why, because I have everything in the ninth house, which is the house of like deeper meaning and like just higher knowledge, and then I want to understand the meaning of it all, not just so definitely I'm blessed to be honest, to have this Gemini curiosity, which is air, also being curious and having in the ninth house when I want to explore more deeply, like in having other points of view. And then this Virgo rising gives me an ability to analyze and see what is useful and what is not useful. Of course, from my perspective, I would say, not from everybody's, but so I'm actually blessed with that positions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And it's interesting how having Gemini in your midheaven, you love working with others. So it's that duality that
Absolutely.
has come into play.
Absolutely. Yeah. So my one of my life stories is I changed many professions. I did many things in my life. Okay, so that's the Gemini may have it as well. Being versatile, because your brain works. You have so many ideas, and then you want to explore different ways of manifesting them in your real life. That's why career change, that's not a problem, because it's also a mutable sign. I'm mostly mutable. Like I have really heavy mutable air as a so mutability. If people don't know, we have it's like a modality how we approach things to life. So cardinal signs are more of action prone. They want to be first, and they're go-getters and action oriented. Fixed signs like to finish things and get things done, more practical. And then the mutable signs are just changing. They're like they don't mind change a lot. So moving, changing careers, changing schools. It was not as stressful as it would be for somebody who's highly fixed because they want stability. They didn't like change, right? So on the other hand, it can also lead to things that you have so many things in your mind, but you actually don't manifest any of them. They just stay in your head. So that's like a downside of all this. I do have so many projects not finished, and oh my god, and then should I this and that, maybe if I did master something, did I ever master something? I'm always learning, but because I'm so curious, and this and then this and then having the ability to master something, maybe it's lacking, or maybe it's not even out of interest. Like I don't want to be the best at this. I don't care. I just want to see what is here. So there's not even and realizing that we are not here to be the same. It doesn't matter if I don't master anything. Just realizing that and stuff like that.
Of course. Yeah. Now, I want to take you back to when you were a young lady in school. I can only imagine school being a little bit difficult for you, not in terms of learning, but in terms of the pressures of the system.
Yes. So again, it's I wasn't an A student. People would say, "Oh, she's so smart." Like people thought I was smart, but I wasn't an A student just because the system, as it was set up, it was just boring. And if I don't have a good teacher, forget it. Like if I didn't have a good teacher, that subject for me was that I just and I was always more prone to learn from teachers than from books. Although I always like to read, but as I said, exchanging ideas, asking questions. Oh, what is this about? Just being interactive with somebody who has the knowledge. Not every teacher appreciates that, right? Not every. They just want to, I'm here. I want to say, you shut up. So I was fortunate in the first 4 grades of my life. I had a great teacher back in Croatia. He was very creative. He was actually teaching us how to think, teaching us how to be creative. So it was always fun. He had these games. He would tell stories. So it was perfect. It was great. And then later when I came to school, when you have like multiple teachers, multiple subjects, then adapting to each teacher, it wasn't a problem. But if I didn't like the teacher, forget it. So in those subjects that I connected with who I who taught me things, I would excel. In others, I would just fail. I was like all over the place. Like my dad was like, "What? Like what is? Why can't you?" It is what it is. So yeah, I find the structure was one of my fortes.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I think all over the world, it's not just like I'm in Australia. I know you're in Canada at the moment. The school system, it's outdated and it's doing a lot of young people a disservice.
Absolutely. To be honest, we have, me and my husband, we have like just one child. He's 3.5, and we are already worried about the school system. We're trying to homeschool him as much as we can and teach him some,
Yeah,
some, because it's just it's
yeah,
scary actually when you have a kid, you have to put him in this kind of school system, and it's so interesting with all this technology advancements, with internet, with medical advancements, with more awareness as humans. We still teach kids the same things we did 100 or something years ago. Like,
yeah,
why? Like, what?
yeah.
So I don't want to go into conspiracy theories, but do they want us to be smart? The people who govern us?
I
Yeah,
know. And I think,
right.
like, if we look at the astrology, so obviously, like, we turn to astrology for the big questions, for answers, and for everything in between. And so
Absolutely, absolutely.
for me personally, I think there's been a lot of interplay with Pluto being a generational planet, being in Capricorn, Capricorn being like structures, and like we consider Capricorn the CEO of the zodiac, and it's all the
Absolutely.
authority. And so Pluto bringing about a lot of the underground, deep, deep hurts, deep truths that are no longer working. There's big
Absolutely.
questions.
Yeah, I spoke with one of the astrologers. I think it was Mila, and we talked about Pluto and Capricorn, and she talked about the kids who are born, like my son, for example.
Yeah.
They won't be conditioned by the society like the prior generation. They're like she said that the first generation of this Capricorn Pluto kids, they are not going to, they don't care about society and their conditioning. They're just gonna say, look, I am going to make the new rules. Capricorn, right?
Mm.
They will want to rule in a new way.
Yes.
So in 20, 30 years, we will see the impact when they become adults, right? Um, how this will play out, but it makes sense to me, right?
Yeah.
As generation who has Pluto in Sagittarius, they are already changing how the way they learn and stuff. There's internet, there's a bunch of other um, things, because in my days I had to go to the library. I had a library card, and had to wait for a book to somebody to return
Exactly.
it. Like, what is that? To get the knowledge, right? Today, so even these kids with fluid Sagittarius, they already are kind of, they're just starting. They're just still young, but they're starting to change. Many homeschooling, many different types of.
Yeah.
So hopefully,
But
hopefully we're gonna get astrology in school soon as well.
yeah, of course. Like it is one of like I know Steve Judd speaks about this often. He said if we can get 3 generations of school children learning their astrology, then the world would be such a different place.
Yeah, he says that there will be no war. He even says that, right? Uh, yeah. So
It's a big claim,
yes,
and it comes with confidence.
yeah. So I was lucky enough to be one of his students, one of his first students, and I love the way he has approached the life, very direct, blunt, but optimistic. He has a moon in Sagittarius, so you can see that right in
Um,
him, right? And he said, he was just saying as well, but since he was born, there's always some kind of war somewhere in the world.
mm,
So there's no like a state of peace. It's actually it's an illusion, right? It
yes.
doesn't exist. There's always somebody fighting. So he is a believer that if we had like a couple of generations knowing and learning and practicing, like understanding themselves and the world around them, there would be no war, which
Yeah,
I would love to see.
of
Even as an
course.
experiment, just give us a chance. I would like to have this chance to see if that's true or not. If
Of course.
so hope.
And
Yeah.
this is the thing that every amazing creation has to have started in the mind to begin with. All is mental. If you look at the Kabbalion, it's the first Hermetic law. So the idea has to start somewhere, and then I think it takes it's going to be a revolution because it's very evident the current structures, the current systems are not working. And so it's going to take, and, we can't, little ourselves in this, but it takes people like you and I constantly sharing the truth, sharing the resonance, sharing the reflections that we've picked up on and noticing and becoming aware of. And then there's little trinkles.
I
and there's
love that you said this.
breadcrumbs.
I love it. I love
And
that.
we have to keep doing, because I feel it in your energy, Jasmina. When you share like your astro tips daily, I'm going to be a fangirl and say I wait for them.
Oh, thank you. Oh my God, it makes me so happy. I hope that helps. Yeah, you can see sometimes I have a bad day. You can just feel it on my face when you wake up. But I didn't miss one. Just because I feel that no matter what, I like, and you have to share and be vulnerable and just
Yes.
share what it is. And if it helps, it's just my little tip.
Yeah.
But but I'm happy that I can, if I can help one person to think, oh, and they don't do something irrational or stupid, let's say that day, I love it, right? So that's really cool.
Yeah.
Um, the whole point of me having Instagram and doing this and connecting with others is just to showcase people, different astrologers, different approaches, different humans who use astrology in different ways, and it helps us all. And
Yes.
I love that, because we cannot connect with everybody. I'm 100% aware that nobody will connect with me or find me interesting. They need somebody who's maybe more Saturnian, or I'm more Mercurial. So people who have strong Mercury, or who like quick information or short or something, they can more write. And I understand that. But there are many great astrologers who are more Saturnian, more Plutonian, more Uranian. Like they're different, more Venusian, or whatever. So just, and I want to bring them all with traditional astrology, modern astrology, this and that, because I want everybody who comes across one of my uh, videos or lives or anything to see, oh, I like that person. I'm going to explore more, and then maybe explore more, because that's how we're gonna know each other, if we
Course.
support each other, and share our knowledge with others. As you said, bring like little crumbs. We leave little crumbs everywhere. Somebody will pick up on a crumb, right? I love that. That's such a good
Yes.
analogy. Perfect.
And I think we've like you can see it, you can feel it. There's this online community now where, instead of, like, I just feel like in the last 5 years, because let's be realistic, it was
Mm-hmm.
very competitive online. Now, I think there's been a big shift where we are considering each other as colleagues. And so there's this support of each other instead of seeing each other as a threat.
Isn't that amazing? Isn't it?
It
Because
is.
yeah, I always say there is people. This world needs more and more astrologers. There's work for all of us to be done. There's no need for competition. If I'm always thinking, I cannot consult everybody in this world. It takes hours, and to talk to you can't, because there's no time. it, isn't it better that the more of us have these skills and techniques, and just get in tune with ourselves and help others? And if I don't have time, or if I don't have the knowledge, I don't have every knowledge. I'm not like a health astrologer. I don't specialize I usually do needles and synastries, and helping, just because I'm interested in more in a person, like more humanistic way. I want to help people in that sense in general. um, and then I can refer somebody who is more into that, into
Yeah.
finance, into business, into whatever, right? Why? Or some other approach, like from the ancient, from the Vedic, there's different, so it's all good. There's no need for competing. Absolutely, we should actually stick more together, and raise dignity and give dignity to astrology again, and work on that. And so that all the scammers are gone. That's what we need to do. I feel
Yeah.
that is the most. Um, this is where I see the future of astrologers, to gain respect again, because
Yes.
astrology and astronomy was in the past was very respectful. Only few had access to it, right? So I think we should go back to that dignity and respect, and and put and educate and share awareness to people that astrology is not fortune telling, and just remove from that sun sign column from the newspaper that people
Mm.
think astrology is, because people have everyone in this world has some kind of a opinion of astrology based on nothing. Even my dad. My dad is actually he's the one who told me about about the sun signs. He was the one who told me, Gemini is this, and but he has his strong. He has Sag rising with Jupiter in Sag on his ascendant. His belief system is so strong, you can see it, and you can't change his belief system. And with Mercury in Aquarius, very. So although he thinks astrology is interesting, when I said I'm actually astrologer, he was like, "Do you have something smarter to do?" Like he was really, because it doesn't fit into his perception of what astrology is. And then I just asked, Daddy, how many books did you read? What do you know about astrology? What do you really know about it? We can't even talk about it. I said, I don't really want to talk to you about it, because read these books, listen to this, and then we can chat. Because, in the beginning, when I started doing astrology more seriously, I was like, I always wanted people, to persuade people, this is why this is good. And now I don't waste my energy on that. If you're not on that state of consciousness or awareness, or if you're not willing and open to learn, if you think you know it all, then go ahead. I don't have time to pursue, and I don't want to anymore.
Yes.
I actually want to spend my energy with people who want to learn, who want to, work on themselves, right? So that's my take on that. Just
No, it's very interesting, because I think no astrologer, or I don't know any that, when they were younger, high school, we're thinking about career day, you're never sitting there thinking, I want to be an astrologer, right? There's always the system teaches you these are careers, this is the college, the university pathway, you must study, and then you get a job. But in saying that, we come into astrology because it may be through sun sign columns. Let's be realistic here. At the same time, you come into astrology because you found something, you found little trinkles of something that provides you with a little bit more information and an understanding of who you are.
Absolutely. And if you have to be open to know it. If you have this, poor posture, if like, I know it all, I'm so smart, I don't need this, that's fine with you. But then, one of my high school friends, where we met at a reunion, I don't know, 10 years ago, and she goes, I'm all the same as I was in high school. And I told her, that's sad. But she was like, what do you mean? I said, I mean, it's sad. Take it as I said it. I'm not the same, and I'm proud of it. Oh yeah, I'm working on myself. That's the whole point,
Exactly.
Right?
So true.
It's very fixed. So but I'm just saying. So she didn't understand what I'm saying. Like, she felt offended that I thought, that she was something. I'm just saying that this is not everybody's on the same path, on the same level. But giving opportunity to people who want to reach out more, to have that opportunity, I like that. People who actually are searching and looking, and that they're lost, to give them that hand that astrology can bring. I think that's who we should focus on.
Of course, absolutely.
The other ones will come later.
Definitely. I agree with you there. And it's the mirror, I'm going to call it, of when you really understand your birth chart. It's like a really big mirror. And when it reflects some insight into you, all of a sudden, for me personally, and I think I find this with my clients, there's this, I can relax now. I can be at peace with why X, Y, Z. Why am I always thinking? Why am I over analytical? Why do I believe in one thing and one thing only?
Yeah, but I still love Virgos. I have my Virgo ascendant, and I feel that sometimes, okay, we need everything. We need each sign for different purposes.
Of course.
Okay. So, and I love the story from Aries to Pisces, when it ends, how it starts, and how each sign just complements the sign before with something new, and reflects on what is missing before, and then we go to something higher that we can't even understand with Pisces there. So being overly analytical, and some point of life or with some things that we do, it might be necessary. We need to perfect some things. Otherwise, we're always gonna, it's gonna be sloppy, which nobody likes. Anyway, so that's kind of a thing that I'm thinking. Trying to understanding your chart, because we have all the signs in our chart in different areas, how they manifest in our lives, and understanding that, uh, that's the beauty of it, right?
Yeah.
So you having Virgo in the 12th house, right, gives you this profound connection to perfect, you know, your connections with your intuition and with your subconscious. To this, it's beautiful, actually, beautiful. I think it's beautiful, and
I've
always try to be optimistic.
I've got
Always,
Mars in the 12th house as well, so it's a bit of an aggressive striving for this perfection.
yeah, I know, but it's as long as you keep yourself busy, I think it's good. Because you
Yes.
need to be, yeah, for example, you need to be busy, I feel,
Yes.
some way or another, your mind or something, so
Yeah.
good.
Now, I'd love to know what was the deciding point for you? So obviously you would have learnt a little bit about your chart, maybe a little bit about why having a Gemini stellium was important. What was the turning point for you to then go, okay, I now definitely need to learn more about this and then share this with others?
Okay, I'll share my story. So the turning point was actually late. It was my Uranus opposing Uranus situation,
Mm.
just 3-4 years ago, which,
Now,
I'm
for
saying
those,
it's
I'm
late
just
because,
going to stop you there for a moment. For those that are listening in, can you explain why? Because this is a really
okay,
big deal. Why would Uranus opposing Uranus in a transit be a really big deal?
yeah. So this is called, middle life crisis in the world that they don't know astrology, but for us who know, we know that it's Uranus opposing Uranus. So Uranus is a planet of awakening, of, of eureka moment, like, oh yes, something like that, like something, it it kind of forces you to change. It forces you to break free from everything that doesn't feel comfortable. So when Uranus in the sky is transiting and opposing your natal Uranus, this is like the moment, now or never feeling. It's something like you have to do it now, otherwise you will never, be happy. It's kind of like brewing 40 years in you. I can't even explain. And then it's a burst. Uranus is explosion. It's a burst of energy. It's explosion. It's very, and that's how I felt. And uh, I had my son when I was 42. I was a late mom, and I was on my maternity leave. And coincidentally, Steve started he said, I'm going to have my first course. And Steve was my astrologer for years. Like, I was consulting him, and I had his books, and I was listening to him, whatever. But then it was just coincidence. I don't believe in those, but let's say. And then I had time because I wasn't working. I was home for a long. It took 16 months because I just wanted to be with my son.
Beautiful.
And then it was just the perfect time, or it aligned well, because my whole life this astrology was part of my life. So shortly, let's just go back. When I was a kid, like 7, 8, 9, I don't know, my dad, would always say Pisces is the best because he's a Piscean, and then he would talk, oh, you're Gemini. So I knew about something like that. And then there was all in Croatia, I have to say. Back it was Yugoslavia. We was like, we didn't even have a phone at home. That's how, it was back
Wow.
in the 80s, late 80s, right? Uh, and then one of the local stores they published like a sun sign booklet, like about just about, this, about Capricorns and stuff. So I bought what I had at home: Gemini, Cancer, Pisces, and Capricorn, with my grandmother, mother, brother, dad, and I. And I learned all about these 4 signs, and I thought, oh my god, this is so true. This is what my mom is. This is like, I was just like 9 or 10, and it was like, oh my god, it was like so much fun to explore that. Shortly after, maybe it was just maybe around my Jupiter return or something like that, or maybe a little bit before. Uh, there was a magazine. It's called Astro magazine. It went out every month, I think, and in there were so much things like, oh, or what is your Uranus? Which sign is your Uranus? And I would wait each month to kind of read, and then I had a book, and I wrote down for my family, and every time, what is my moon? What is my ascendant? And there was like a little cheat sheet. I would calculate ascendant by hand because there was no
Wow.
computers there. Think about, there was no there was computers, but there was no internet, no cell phones, and nothing. It was like 90, 88, 89, something like, or 90, 89, 90. That's how I feel. And I was so excited, but there was a bunch of other stuff. Numerology was there. Like, it was like an esoteric magazine, but then, oh, I loved it. And I was just piling all this information, but it was all about knowing yourself. It wasn't nothing predictive, nothing, I didn't go that far. Then later, you have your teenage years where you're all over the place. And then I was lucky to have a friend. So late teens, we would talk about, oh, when was this boy born? We liked him, and then we would look at, are we compatible? It was just like one of those high school girly, but this is what we did. We talked about sun signs and horoscopes, and about guys and girls, and it was just fun. Um, and then she loved Jodish and Vedic astrology, so I went to some workshops with her, but I couldn't connect with it, to be honest.
Yeah.
So it just I still think it works and it's good, but I couldn't connect it with it. Just, I don't know. I just couldn't. But still, we always talked about astrology. She always had her, and I read some books. I went to some workshops. It was always there. Uh, but I never went into predictive astrology or understanding deeper what astrology can actually provide. Okay, and then I went through some tough times during my Saturn return, and Pluto opposing my Sun. It was some life things, situations that I don't want to waste time, but we can always talk about it. Some hard aspects
Yeah.
that kind of changed my life drastically. And after my Saturn return, I started more digging into some stuff, and consulting the Steve as an astrologer, and just learning about astrocartography. Should I move from Croatia to Canada? Is it good? Like, I was like, all this. I was exploring more, looking at some charts, at people's, at friends, and colleagues at work. So it was just like a hobby through my 30s. But I was more practicing, let's say.
Yeah.
And then opposing Uranus hit me with the Steve's course, and then I continue my study with Matt from Uranian Matt. So now I'm
Yes.
currently also going to his class for Uranian astrology because it's just different, and I love it. And then we kind of, as a classmates, when you study with somebody, we encourage each other. I said, this is the time, let's do it. It was a new moon in Aquarius in my fifth house in January. I said, you know what, I'm going to do the Instagram page now, and and let's see how it goes from there. I was scared. I was, it's scary to put yourself out there because you're always, open to criticism, to whatever. Um, but then, thankfully, to my air, to my mutability, I said I'll go with the flow. In a sense, I'll just always go back to my intuition as well. That's why I feel that intuition is very important for everybody in life, not just for us who are consulting others to kind of get in line with our inner gut and feeling. It always tells you what to do at the end, right? So every morning I'm kind of like, okay, let's do this. Let's see what's today's happening, and just go with it and tell the tip the best I can at that day, at that situation. So fingers crossed, it's gonna be good later. But this is kind of like my short story of astrology journey.
It's a beautiful story, and it's interesting how, in one way, you birthed your son, he came into the world, and so your identity changed as a mother. But then at the same time, parallel to that, I'm going to go back to your Gemini, you've got this new second identity as an astrologer. And so I can see how the two paths that do lead you to the same point.
Yes, isn't that also amazing when you become a parent, you kind of feel, oh my God, if I'm not genuine to myself and authentic, and my kid sees that, that's scary.
Mm.
I don't want him to see me frustrated or having resentments or regret. In that case, kind of like, I know he was only a baby, but I feel that from early age you have to, they feel, babies are also humans. Trust me, they feel, they know more than we think. It's to be discovered in the future, but so yeah, so that was kind of a thing, and I'm happy that I have support from my husband now. He's not an astrologer or anything, but he learns so much from me. He's like, you know what, I have a important meeting or something, tell me what is happening. Like, he wants to know, like, he's also kind of like very supportive, which is also important. It's easier, let's say.
Yeah. I did the same with my husband, especially when, excuse me, like this week we had one of our pets pass away, and it was very sudden, very unexpected. Thank you. And when I looked at the astrology, it was obviously Uranus opposing Mars, two very volatile planets. And Mars is currently in my second house of income and resources. And the vet bills this week were, my goodness. I've really felt it. And so it's not that it excuses the situation, but it does bring a little bit of light, and it helps me to just detach from the negativity and just bring a little bit more understanding to it.
Yeah, and then your husband also understands you better, right? Because he it's good. They don't have to be astrologers, but as long as they know something, it's much easier, and it makes the life much better. And
Yeah.
that's perfect.
Yeah. And I'm going to touch back on when you mentioned like your child, obviously you want to show up as the best version of yourself because your child will absorb and pick up and resonate with what is and what isn't authentic. I think it's the same case when we think about it with our clients as well. You want to show up with in your most authentic, true self. And it becomes very obvious, very apparent when you're not that you are not, but I'm like,
with the person is not. Yes.
yeah.
I don't know about your experience with I had other astrologers read for me, not just Steve. I had others just for curiosity. I'm
Yes.
a Gemini. I want to, and for my husband, from different reasons. I wanted to, I'm just experimenting. It was before even I went public, live, or out of the closet, as I say. But to be honest, some people charge money and they don't give the value for that money. And I was shocked. I was shocked because I feel with somebody, so this is exchange of energies. If somebody is paying for my service, maybe it's a Virgo rising thing, I don't know, but I'm thinking I have to give him the value for it, for that, and so it's very important not to talk about generally, me. I try to be more practical, and I have a feedback from my clients that I give them practical solutions which they like, uh, which it's good. So maybe that's why I attract those kind of clients as well. Some people just want to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Some people just like and astrology can be a therapy for them, and you just need an astrologer to talk to.
Of
So there's
course.
a different, So
Yeah.
that's what I say. So
Yeah.
anyway.
And it's interesting because you mentioned that like Steve Judd was your astrologer for a number of years. And it's that repeat client relationship that tells you everything you need to know. You had a teaser one time, and then maybe 6 months or a year later, you want to come back. And it's through building that relationship that you build trust and respect with the astrologer. And I think in building our own astrology businesses, this is something that, for me, and I can feel it in you as well, it's staying true to those values, having self-respect, and then obviously making sure that our clients walk away with so much value.
Absolutely. And if I don't know something, I tell them. I can't tell you this. Like first of all, I'm not a fortune teller. I can tell you what the stars, what the energies are for you, where I can give you some kind of guidance, or if this is the energy that is now. If you really want to meet somebody and have a relationship, but of course you can always do that. I'm not saying you can't, but if the energies are more inclined for your career this year, then I will tell you that. Maybe you don't want to hear it, but being and something that I don't know, I will say I don't know this.
Yeah.
Being able to say it, and also what is important. That's why I like to talk to a client to get a feedback. Is not assume that we know everything about a client when we see a chart. That can also be like, oh, he has a Capricorn stellium. Oh, he's like that. You don't know how that manifested, because that's where the free will comes in. It can go this way, it can go that way, right?
Absolutely.
Strong Neptune aspects, people can lead into addiction, or they can lead into astrology or artistic expression. It's higher or lower vibration. So we as a soldier, we can't assume anything that we know about the person, and stuff like that. It's also very important to leave, like that ethical. So, being integrity is number one for me.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
So
and I think you don't have to say I'm showing up with integrity. It's your energy that people resonate, feel, and absorb that tells you everything you need to know.
I want to use this opportunity to encourage everybody who wants to practice astrology but doesn't feel that they are good enough. You're never going to feel that you're good enough. That's the first of all. We learn every day. I learn with every new chart that I open. It's like it's like a chocolate. Like for what was that movie, Forrest Gump, and he said, it's like a box of chocolate. You never know what you're going to get. This is exactly what it is with every chart I see.
Love that.
Because there are but it's 9 different billion people on Earth. That's how many different charts are there, right? So everything is something new. Being humble in understanding that you cannot know it all, and you won't be able to say everything there is in the chart, because first, it's not possible in an hour or hour and a half that you have in a session. Second of all, I'm a true believer that every person comes to you into your life for a reason at that specific time, and will get the information they need from you at that time. That's it. And this is my guidance. That's what I'm thinking. This person came, they need to hear this from me. Whatever comes out of my mouth, this is what I need to hear. And that's it. Maybe in 6 months or 3 months or 2 weeks, they will get another reading. They will hear something else that they will need to hear, whatever that means. I don't know. And so I would encourage everybody who wants to start practicing. Yes, you need to know techniques, a little bit of but you will gain that only by practice.
Yeah.
There's no way to learn astrology by books or just courses. If you don't practice and look at just chart after chart, just gather charts. Everybody I could get a chart, I would. People just talking to me like on some party. Oh, okay. Oh my God, and this and that. Right?
Yeah.
At the workplace. Oh, I received. Who cares? And then I have a chart. I can then look at it at home, and just for my own thing. So don't be scared. I know, especially if you're Virgo or Virgo rising, or some placements you want to be, Saturn, heavy Saturn also, they want to be, prepared and ready and serious. It's a serious approach. It is serious, but it also can be fun. So, so give yourself, don't doubt yourself, and I would encourage everybody to just then. You have to, at some points, start with donations or with some kind of, buy me a drink, buy me a lunch kind of a thing. Just then you will get to the point. I struggle with the same thing. I think all of us did at some point. How to charge, how much to charge, what am I valuing? Also, listen to yourself. You will know in the end, and believe that you will bring value to other people.
Of course.
Every knowledge, astrology, as long as your intentions are good and you're not doing it just for money.
Yeah.
It sounds really like a nine house stellium now. But I just wanted to mention that because I know many people are learning astrology now, and more, right? And many of them are struggling to start. So if whoever listens to this and has issues with that, I just want to encourage them to do it.
There you go. This is your sign. If you're wondering whether you should learn astrology or not, well, this is it. If not now, when? We're in such a pivotal time in human history. It's so important to be who like to bring out your core values in your work, in your day-to-day work, because I know so many people who are just so unfulfilled in their jobs because this, again, I'm going to go back to the system, the school structure and parental values, societal, cultural values have taught us for a long time. You go to school, you continue studying, tertiary, university, college, you get a job, you find a partner, you get married, you have kids, and then what?
And you die. You know, plus I would have to mention all this religion stuff that is also pushed on us, you know, having not having the ability to learn, to see, and to choose for yourself what
Yes.
you want to believe in. Isn't that scary? When I the more I think about it, it's very scary. You know, it was, you know, everybody was shocked we didn't baptize because we were raised Christian, you know, Croatia, blah blah blah. But I didn't want to baptize my son. I want him to have his own, you know,
Autonomy.
yeah, he needs to see. I mean, I want to introduce him to everything, you know, I can. Like, this is where you can see, this way you can learn, but it's his choice at the end. Who am I to tell him what he needs to believe in?
Yeah.
I feel that it's scary that, you know, I know that our parents and generations before us didn't have the choice. It was just different type of consciousness, even in, you know. So, but we are here to change that.
Yes.
Yeah, and as I posted the other day, somebody said it, and I really, every day I think about it. Don't be afraid to change the world.
Yeah. That's so, so profound, so incredible, and so heart opening. It just opens your heart up to so much more possibilities and uh, options that are now available to us that we did not have access to years and years ago.
Yeah, that's true. So we can change. We are changing the world. Changing the world is not easy. It's painful. It's hurtful. You need to let go of stuff that feel comfortable, that feel good, or, you know. So, uh, you know, and we can do it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
of course. This was such a lovely chat with you. I can't thank you enough, Jasmina.
Oh, thank you for me.
For our listeners, please tell us how we can find you. Where are you at? What workshops or
Yes. Okay.
interviews are you having coming up?
Yeah. So, oh, cool. Yes. So, you can find me on Instagram. It's Jasmina Brozovic Astrology, and also YouTube is the same handle. And it's an interesting story why I use my full name. I started with something different, and then I discovered there's an asteroid called Brozovic, like my last name, right on my ascendant. And then, and then I said, you know what? I think I need to use my whole name. Maybe it's hard, but I just feel comfortable with it. And it's my maiden
Beautiful.
name. It's not my married name. It's my maiden name. And then a funny story that I was previously married, and I took my previous husband's name, and we divorced after a year. And I went back to my name. So next time I said, I'm not taking my name anymore. And then I discovered this asteroid. Anyway, just a side note, fun fact. But anyway, you can find me, so Jasmina Brozovic Astrology, on YouTube. I'm currently having more and more lives on YouTube with other astrologers with forecasting, and we have a big one on November 27th for it's going to be a forecast for 2024. I have 5 different astrologers with me from all around the world, so it's like an international panel. It's going to be so much fun. I'm looking forward to that. And if anybody wants to reach out to me for readings, you can find on my website as well. It's been about astrology. If you want to book a reading, or if you just want to, if you have any questions, if you want to collaborate with me, or for any other reasons, I mean, astrology reason, you can always
Of
reach out
course.
to me. That's happening, and then I just launched that I'm preparing a webinar. It's going to be interactive, like a small group, 10 to 15 people. If there's a lot of people that are going to be interested, I want to have a couple of them, about elemental balance. So I thought I'm thinking, what can I offer that people don't need astrology knowledge? So I thought, just understanding your elemental balance in your natal chart, what to do. I have some great tips that I kind of learned and practiced through years, you know, if you lack something or of some element, or you're dominant in some element and modalities, how can you balance it out and stuff like that. So we can just have fun, yeah, for like a small workshop on that. So you can also find information on the website or everywhere I am. Yeah.
I'll leave all the details in the description below, but I'm actually going to sign up for your elemental webinar because I have 0 fire in my chart, and so does my husband. Absolutely no fire, which is fascinating.
Who motivates you guys? When you get, maybe you have, but if you have planets in a fire house, that can help as well. So we can discuss it in a workshop. That can actually balance it out a little bit. And I have some great tips for people.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, because you probably lack motivation. That's the most usual thing, you know.
I think we have motivation, but I just find that I do attract a lot of fire people into my life. Like my sister is a triple fire.
That's exactly how you balance it out as well. That's one of the things.
Yeah, others. Yeah. Amazing.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Help people with you know, this little. It's gonna be so I'm gonna. This one will have a small group, so I can look at each one's chart and specifically for that person, give a couple of tips, right? So it's more personalized, not pre-recorded. Maybe I'll pre-record one day, but I can't talk to myself still. I still can't do that.
Just add that to your list of all the other things.
Yeah, that's what I say. We don't have to do everybody everything. Just do what you feels right for you, right?
Of course, yeah. Well, awesome. Thank you so much for your time. This was so wonderful. I just want to give you a hug through the screen.
Virtual hug. Thank you so much for this. I enjoyed it so much, and good luck with your future interviews and with all the astrology that you're going to share. I love it. Yes, we should collaborate more. So
of course, definitely love this. Thank you. Wherever you're listening from, if you can give us a review and a 5-star rating, that would be so helpful in supporting this podcast. If this episode lights you up and inspires you, then please make sure that you share this podcast and make sure that you tag me on Instagram. I am beyond grateful and so blessed to call this work. It just means so much. Together, we will learn and grow. Staying anchored in your heart means staying anchored to your humanity. All my love, Natasha.